Hello there, everybody. Bunneh here, and Ark Survival Ascended has officially released their gameplay. I'm not sure if it's a trailer or if it's actual gameplay, but we're gonna check it out. Obviously, I haven't watched this yet, so this is like a first-time reaction thing. I normally hate reaction type of channels. I think it's really lazy content, and I think it's an easy way for people to steal other people's content. But in this case, it's like a thing that we're all involved in. You know, we're all excited about this, and I wanted to kind of give my first impressions and my first opinions, which is why I even broke out the green screen after like 8 years of not putting this thing up. And it was really wrinkly, so I put a lot of work into getting these wrinkles out, and I think it turned out pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. But anyways, let's get into the video. I want to check it out and see what they actually show, if much of anything. It might even just be like fluff stuff, you know? If it is just like a trailer, it's going to be kind of disappointing, because that doesn't really tell us a whole lot. There is a link to this video in the description down below in case you want to watch the full thing in its entirety. This is actually a live stream over on Xbox's channel. Alright, let's get into it. I think I paused this at the right moment, so we'll see. Okay. It says in-game footage! Holy crap. I'll tell you what, that looks pretty darn solid. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna pause this. If this is truly in-game footage, that looks incredible. Like, really, really good. I'm actually gonna back this up just a little bit back to the beginning. If you want to watch this undisturbed, then go watch the original. Don't watch my video, because I'm gonna kind of commentate as we do things here. So let's restart this dude. Right? So he's waking up on the beach. We're used to seeing all that, but look at the pebbles and stuff on the beach. Like, all that stuff looks really good. It's tessellated, but it also has, like, shadowing and stuff from the sun off in the distance. So they did a really good job of making that stuff appear more dynamic than it used to be, where it was kind of just like objects slapped into place, and there was some shading and some shadowing, but not like this. That looks really good. And I'm also only watching this in 1080p. I'm not sure if I can even get 4K with this. No, you can't. So 1080p is what we're stuck with, but that's okay. But if you check it out, even like look at that. Look at the water effects and shit. All those rocks, like look at the details on the rocks and stuff as the camera's panning around. Vegetation's moving, which tells me that there's probably like higher-end DirectX stuff where there's moving foliage, so when you're walking it's actually like brushing bushes back and forth and the vegetation moves with you, which is something that Ark always lacked for like a really, really long time. So it's good to see that they might actually be putting that in the game now, which is pretty sweet. The hair details look a lot better. Now that's interesting right there. Let's go back just like a frame if we can. Right there. So those dire bears splashing around in the water, they're actually making puddles and particle effects when they're doing that stuff. And before, that was kind of lackluster in Ark Survival Evolved. So they're definitely taking the water mechanics and the water systems a whole other notch up, which is pretty sweet to see. Wow, looks really good. Alright, so we got some character models now too, which is something that we haven't seen in the trailer yet, outside of the guy scratching his wrist when he first wakes up. But I was always curious if they were going to improve the body mechanics and stuff of the characters, because that stuff was always pretty lackluster before. Like, we all come to love it because it's Ark, and we like Ark, so we accepted it. But if you boil it down and compare it to, like, other games, it was actually pretty lackluster, the way that they moved, the way that they swayed. It always had, like, a certain jank to it, and I'm hoping that they kind of ironed some of that stuff out and made it look a little more realistic. So let's go back maybe just a frame if we can. This is a really long live stream, so it's kind of hard to jump back a few frames. Let's see. I kind of wanted to see how they walk and how they move on the patio there. So that looked much better. Also, my god, the raptors. Okay, we got a gunshot in there. Bow and arrow. I realize that's some crappy commentary, but I'm mainly looking at the way things are interacting with other things, right? So the raptor, that's some amazing detail in this raptor. And we've got like a little ovis sneaking through the bushes, and if you notice, he's actually moving the bushes, kind of like we saw earlier. So there should, technically speaking, be a little bit of dynamic stuff going on with all the foliage and stuff, which is really good to see. Now that right there, it's so hard to back up like a frame just to check that out. I just want to see that. Okay? So watch behind the raptor, okay? Dude in a ghillie suit, right? If that's what ghillie suits actually look like, that looks incredible compared to how they used to be. That tells me that you might actually be able to hide in PvP and kind of blend in, whereas before you did stick out to an extent, but that actually just straight up looks like a bush, which is how ghillie should look, and maybe it's actually even more practical in PvE stuff too, like maybe you can hide from dinos better than you could before. I'd be curious to see if they change those mechanics or not. And then right here, so we got a gunfire, we got recoil, raptor drops. So even the death animation of that raptor looks a lot better than it used to. Like, way back whenever this game first released, if you guys remember, bodies used to just, like, float off into nothingness, and it was really funny. Luckily, they improved that, but even now, it's not as good as it could be in ASE, so it's kind of nice to see that they brought some more mechanics and physics into it, where his body just, like, straight drops when his brain shuts off, which is kind of cool. Okay, the bow looks really good too, the recoil and everything from it. That looks a lot better too. Still a little bit of jank. Just a little bit of jank. So this right here, the way the Basilosaurus moves in the water, it's just still got a little bit of rigidity to it, right? It's a little bit too rigid. I feel like a fish creature like that would just have more sway in its body, where it's like contouring to the pressures of leaving the water and then rediving in the water. But I could be wrong. I mean, Basilosauruses are really big, and it could just be the size of it is like scaling down its movement some. The body mechanics definitely do look a lot better with character models, so that's good to see. Caves look really nice. Wow, the lighting in those caves looks so good. I mean, if you compare it to before, there used to just be like some god rays coming down, and that was like really all you had lighting-wise. But that looks really good. They really nailed how it disperses in a cave. Now it seems like it actually comes down through, hits surfaces, and then the specular highlights on those surfaces really makes a difference, whereas before it kind of just all it just washed out. Now it kind of actually interacts with things appropriately. So you can definitely tell the lighting and the water mechanics especially are much better looking than it used to be. Oh, the supply crate looks sweet! Alright! That shot looked incredible. Hang on, we're going back again. Oh my god, that looks so good! That looks really good. Alright, don't be mad at me, I'm pausing again. we're going back! So, check out all of the foliage and stuff that they have on cliffs now. Like, that looks infinitely better, because before it was just rock faces, which in some cases, that's how nature is, right? You just have rock faces. But on the island where it's supposed to be like this overgrown manufactured habitat, I would expect it to be more, what do I want to say, more fauna. I expect there to be more fauna in places, and that kind of nails it. Like, you've got it underneath rocks, you've got it surrounding rocks, especially this shot with the T-Rex coming up after the croc. Like, that foliage around the Rex right now looks so much better than it used to. Oh, they've even got a throwback to, like, the original trailer where the Rex was bursting through the wood wall. That's pretty sweet. Demolition mechanics. Oh, that tree fall. Hang on, we're backing it up again. So one other thing too here, whenever there's destruction of a building, it seems like it interacts with the foliage and water around it, like right here. See how it blows the trees? Oh my god, that tree fall! That looks a lot better. Wow. Oh, that's so much better. Oh my god, hang on. We're going back. Look at that! The way the branches move and everything as it impacts. Holy shit. I mean, it looks really, really good. If that there is true ASA gameplay, that looks really good. And it says at the beginning of it that it's in-game footage, right? I didn't see that incorrectly. Let's double check that. In-game footage. Now, I think that technically could mean that they used cameras inside the game, so this still technically could be like in-engine to an extent. I'm not exactly sure that that is gameplay as much as it is photo stuff and camera tricks that they're working. But in either regard, it looks really, really good. Even if you compare this to the trailers and stuff that they did for other games, this looks really good. So I'm pretty darn stoked. I would just be cautious. I don't know that I would go into it with the expectations that this is what it's going to look like down to a T, because I think some of this probably is in-game engine footage and not gameplay footage. And also this calls into question, what kind of a rig are you going to need to run this? Because that looks so solid that I can only imagine it's very taxing, and knowing Wildcard, it's not probably optimized all that well, which means you could be getting like 20 frames per second, which would suck. But man, I gotta say, first impressions, this looks really good, guys. Just from a visual standpoint, this looks much better. But obviously, this doesn't really tell us a ton about the gameplay, because it doesn't really actually show gameplay, unless it comes after this. They might have it after this whole trailer thing. So I'll have to watch a little bit more of the live stream to check it out. Also, I once again 100% implore you to go watch this over on Xbox's channel. You can find it in their live stream. I basically just scrubbed the footage until I found it. But certainly, go watch it there so you can get the whole trailer in its entirety, and you can experience all the sound and everything with it too. The shirtless rocket launcher, that's definitely me. That's how I would rock that. That shot right there just looks so fucking good, dude. Wow. So I just watched it again through its entirety, just to make sure that I caught everything. Outside of like little things like the structures and stuff, which look really good. I think that about covers all the bases. So as far as I can tell, that's basically it then for this. That is the first and only sneak peek that we have of Ark Survival Ascended gameplay. As far as I know, this is still coming out at the end of October, so quite literally, 6 days from now is when this should be releasing. I'm pretty blown away by the visuals, but I am a little bit disappointed that they didn't include more actual gameplay stuff, because they didn't show, like, any true fighting scenarios, where it's first-person perspective, you're attacking a tribe, they're attacking you. Like, they didn't show that stuff. And I kind of wish that they did, or at least on the back of a dino, like when you're riding a dino and you have that first-person perspective, or even third-person perspective, most of it was all set up to be, like, multi-angle cameras, which is really good when you're shooting footage and stuff, and when you're wanting to present a trailer, but it's not good for in-gameplay footage. And I think that a little more of that would have been kind of nice to see, but I suppose that we're going to find out in like 6 days anyways, so it really doesn't matter a ton. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave me a like down below, subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you can stay up to date on all of my latest content, join the Discord for a community of like-minded woodland creatures, and please keep leaving me comments because they warm my little Bunneh heart. A special thank you goes out to all of the Bunnehs who support me on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and if you would like to, you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
Jesus Christ.